I am talking loopers and looping pedals today, and I am using down here on the floor the small TC Electronics Ditto looper, and it runs street price around 100 bucks. I have it colored green there so you can see it a little bit better. I wanted to get both my hands and the pedal so you can see what I'm doing with my foot to start and stop the loop. So what I'm going to do is just a real quick basic beginning idea with how do we get synced in with the looper, and then I want to try to move that into a little more intermediate, getting into like a funk loop. I usually have a handful of students that want to learn how to play funk guitar, so it's a great loop to practice your rhythm parts, but it's also a great loop once you get it down to start working on your soloing. So right away, I just want to try to keep this, under 10 minutes if I can. So real quick, what I'm going to do is just count. The goal with the looper is you need to start it on the one count in a measure, and then I'm going to play a one measure, a 4-beat measure. So when I stop it, I need to hit it again on the next one count. So it'll go like this: when I 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll do that real quick here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And you can hear the loop continue on. Ideally, you want it to sound like there's not a starting and stop point to the loop. So let's hear how I did. Okay, so that comes down to a lot of it is getting that right hand control and not jumping the loop per se and overdoing it and just being kind of panicked about it. So this really helps in general playing. I've noticed it in my students, kind of help them alleviate some of the fears of recording when that red light's on, playing in front of people. Because with the looper pedal, you just get this mentality, boy, I want to do it right the first time. I don't want to go back and re-record it. So now that I have that in there, I can play right along with it to help my own timing like a metronome. I'll have a student work on their upbeats. I basically say it's like playing ping pong with the beat. So various things that can be done for the beginner, but I want to jump right into some intermediate looping. So I'm going to clear this out of there. It's really easy to clear. I'm going to just push and hold the pedal, and you can see now that the LED is not lit anymore. So now I'm clean. I can get ready to record another track. Now that we have established some of the looping basics, I want to go to the intermediate side of things. I want to do a loop that I would use with a student who's interested in playing funk guitar, funk rhythm guitar. And if there's enough time, if I can get this done in one take, I'll try to do some soloing ideas. What I would show them to start working over, what we're going to be vamping over or playing over, is an E7 dominant chord. So this is a great way to see how all these little rhythmic parts work together to create a nice funk part. So when I create a loop, I try to think like a drummer at first. I want to get a good rhythm established in that first loop. So I'm going to do a funk. Here's kind of what I'm thinking for my bass drum and my snare, which is going to establish the whole rhythmic feel. So I'm thinking this type of loop. Okay, so I'm going to try to convey that on the guitar. I just want to make sure, let me double check so you can still see the looper pedal down there. I'll play the part first. I'll count myself in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's my first part. So I'm going to lay that down. And one thing I do want to mention, as I do each part, I try to think like I would be in the recording studio or recording at home or playing live with another band, or the praise and worship players out there. Usually there's one electric guitar and one acoustic guitar, or 2 electric guitars. How can we both play together and sonically complement each other? So I'm going to be changing different pickup selections as we start stacking more parts into the loop. I'm going to try to probably do 4 or 5. Hopefully we'll hear how you can pick them out due to the texture of the guitar. It just doesn't all have the same tonal characteristics. So for this first part, I'm going for the quintessential funk bridge position Strat single coil, spanky, real smacky type of a sound here. So I'm going to lay my part down. I think I'm good to go. Notice I'm right over the looper here. Here's my count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll give it a listen here. Okay, I think I can live with that. So now I want to add some more drum parts to it. So I left a couple spaces in there. I'm thinking like a drummer hitting some splash cymbals, crash cymbals, something to just fill in space. So as I listen to the part, I'm going to use this D, or this dominant seventh shape up here. I'll practice first. I like that. I'll try it one more time. I'm going to do one more up here too. Do it one more time just so I make sure I have it. Okay, I think I have it. So if you notice down here the different LED indicators, the flashing green tells me that I have a loop in there already. When I hit it, you can see it flashes green. It's in playback mode. So now I'm ready to add my second part. I want to overdub. I hit it one more time, and hopefully you can see now that the LED is red. And with the overdubs, I'm not as rushed as far as the start. It's just waiting on me to record. So I'm just going to get ready for that first little fill. I'll wait for the next one. Here we go. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to grab this one. Here we go. Now I just hit it once and I can listen to both of those parts. Okay, I can live with that. Now I want to add something that's going to be reflective of the hi-hat. I want to bring in some syncopated 16th note rhythms. And here's my fake hi-hat. I apologize in advance, but it's kind of this sound of is what I want to add to it. Here's what it would sound like over the top. Let me get synced up here. Here we go. So I want to do a part that's going to convey that. I'm going to stay right here with this percussive sound of my position 2. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the volume down probably 2 clicks. I'm probably on 8 right about now because I don't want to overtake the mix with this little part. Again, when you listen to a drum beat, it's not the hi-hat that overtakes everything. So, but I want to be able to really dig into the strings to take advantage of that percussiveness. So I'm going to turn down a little bit so I can still be aggressive in my right hand. So first I'm going to practice. And here's the little part I'm going to do. Here we go. Here's what that sounds like isolated. So I'm being fairly aggressive in my right hand and my palm muting. Here's my part. I'll practice it one more time. Here we go. Okay, so I like how that sounds. I'm going to get ready to record here. Here we go. I'll wait for it. Here it comes. I hit it once, I listen back. I like how it sits down in the mix. It's not overtaking anything. Okay. I want to add a couple more parts. This next part, I want to give it kind of a Steve Cropper. He's the guy that played in the Blues Brothers way back in the day, but I want to give it more of a Memphis-y Stax type of sound. So I'm going to do an interval that I really like to teach because I think it helps. One, it sounds good, but it shows hybrid picking. It shows how to target notes. It just gets us thinking about the notes, because if I can find, in this case, my E that I'm in the key of, I can do my whole move around that. But here's what I'm going to do to make it sound funky. And notice I've switched up into this position that I'm trying to get as telly-like as I can. And the combination of the pick and the finger there, and I'm lifting up on that string a little bit to get kind of that smack against the fretboard, gives it that snap. So let me practice a couple times. I'll wait for it. Here we go. I like how that sounds. I like where it sits in the mix as well, so I'm going to get ready to record it. So far I think I have 4 parts in there. Each part not terribly hard to play, you know, in that intermediate level, but it's more how they all interconnect and fit together, and that's, you know, something that the looper really allows you to do. So now I want to add one more part. I'm going to get into my neck position up here. It's going to be a little fuller sound, and I want to just add the E7 chord up here, and it's more about the texture that it's going to bring to the mix. So it's more about that scratch. So I'll practice with it once. Again, I don't want it to overtake things, so I'm going to come down a little bit in my volume. Here we go. Let me try it. I like that, so I'm ready to record. Here we go. Nice and funky in here. So one thing, you know, as I'm doing each part, I'm really listening to the prior parts I laid down. That's what's keeping me in time, and that's something that as a learning musician, a new musician, that even that intermediate musician, when they first go out to these jam sessions or playing with another person, what I notice is the first thing that's kind of a shock is that you've got to get out of your own little world here and react to what you're hearing and playing in time and all these things that make music really work together. So this really helps. Okay, so with that established now, I've got a nice bed I can play with here. So I'll do just a brief description. If somebody is doing these type of parts, then most likely they're also very interested in learning how to solo and improvise and phrase over the top of that. So I'm going to change my sound back here. Let me make sure I'm not too loud. Turn that down just a little bit. Usually when a student shows up and they've been playing a little bit and they've tried to learn how to solo and they've done it from books and patterns, and usually this is what I hear, and this is the most common request I get: can you please help me solo so it doesn't sound like I'm just playing scale patterns? But this is usually that first solo that comes out of their hands. They're all ready to go, and I say let her rip, and here's what I usually hear. So it's usually running a pattern that, you know, as we learn these scales and these positions, the pentatonics and whatnot, our hands learn that muscle memory. So we're always starting there, and usually, you know, I can tell somebody that's inexperienced, if that solo starts right there, there's not a lot of places you can go other than up, but it's just, that's where we usually start practicing that. So I like to break things down from a soloing standpoint and a control standpoint. More of a single string theory and more of a two strings theory. So I'm in the key of E. So the first thing I want a student to do is, you know, learn the notes on the neck, at least at that process. So where I like to get them to start, my E right here, I'm on my G string, my 7th fret, and just the octave range of that note will jump through the mix. So at first I say you have to make music with that one note. It's the rhythms that you have to use. Because if you think we only have 12 notes, it's the rhythms that really make music happen. So I'll do that. I'll make one note, hopefully sound musical. So as we get that established, then we try to work in a couple different positions, and I won't go into the details as far as there is an organization to how the octaves are laid out on the neck, but I say let's find that next octave, and I always say let's use the same first finger, because as I start to add notes to this idea, the way the guitar is designed, I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm up on my higher E, same idea. And notice at first I'm not using my pinky and which would be the most efficient way to do it. What I'm trying to establish with somebody learning how to play is getting used to moving to position and not being locked into one position. So now I'm playing over an E7 chord. I'll just throw this out there. That means I can play my 7th as flatted. In this case, my E or my flatted 7th is the D note. But not to get caught up in all the theory. At first, I just want students to make music. So when we talk soloing, we talk resolution, the root, and then we start to create some tension, and that flatted 7th will really create tension. So if you listen to the track, here's my root note. It sounds pretty safe. The minute I go to this note, hopefully you hear that bite that the note has. So the first thing we start thinking as a soloist, creating tension, resolving tension. I'm going to do a little of that between my two octaves here. Here we go. Okay, so now, as I do that, I just start moving around to the different octaves, and we start to realize, other than just playing notes with my fingers, depending on where I am within the neck, I can slide, hammer on. If I can bend. If I'm up here on this E and now I'm on this note here, so I can slowly resolve the tension into that root note. So I'll do a little of that now. Here we go. Again, just thinking more about where is my root as opposed to getting caught up in all these notes. We'll definitely get to those. So now I'm going to think that's more on the kind of the minor side of sounding things. So what I'm going to do is, with this dominant seventh chord, we can also play the major pentatonic or the major tonality. And this gets us down. I'm using the same root, my first finger. So what I'm going to do here, I'll change my pickup tone. I just use the root, and we're using the 5 notes of our pentatonic, and I use these two together. And we're trying to develop cliches in our phrasing, and then I'll put these 2 notes together. And I'll just use that little phrase. Add that 7th. I'll do a major sounding idea and end it on the minor sound. Here we go. So the way the guitar is designed, it's a lot of redundancy. If this is my E, this is my E, I'm going to do the very same things. Here's that red note. I color these notes. So as I do this, I'm going to do the major sound. I have the minor sound right there. I can get both tonalities in a really small space. And notice up to now I haven't done any of the traditional scales going across there. So here we go. One more try here. Just went down to my other E. Just some basic soloing ideas, again, for the guy that's just getting started out. But all the while, if I wanted to just play over the top of that, I could just go on and working different ideas, different concepts. But that's how kind of an insight to how I teach lead. But all the while, back to this looper pedal, how sitting in your practice area, you can get a lot of mileage out of your own musicality, your own rhythm skills, keep improving that, all with a pedal that runs around $100 street price. So thanks for watching the video. I will be adding some more examples, how I use it for blues, how I use it for beginner students, how I use it for more advanced students. It's just such a fun way to play. It's as far as its stamina, it's the best jam buddy in the world. It will never wear out. Plus, this one doesn't use a battery, so it's plugged in, so it will definitely never die. So thanks for watching. Keep an eye on the site. I'll definitely be adding more of these videos very soon.